Greetings, everyone. Dr. Brian Scott back with you again today. Today's Wednesday, January the 10th. We're already 10 days into 2024. Isn't that amazing? Insight to the End Times has been examining for the last almost 2-year period where we might be on God's timetable of end time events. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the age. And in just a few days or maybe a couple of weeks from now, I'm going to go through the time schedule or the time scenario as to where we are and why we are at that point, which will indicate to us that we're very, very close to the very end of this age as prophesied by Jesus. We're in Matthew chapter 24. Jesus is answering questions asked by his disciples. They asked him, what will the signs be of your return? What will be the signs of the end of the age? He's answering. We're in verses 6 and 7. Verse 6 says there would be wars and rumors of war. Now, we looked at some of this yesterday in our podcast. We looked at the number of wars that have been fought over the many centuries. We have seen that there's an intensity and there's an increase in the frequency. But for the most part, these wars have been fought somewhere else as opposed to being on North American soil. The last major war here in North America was the Civil War in the United States in 1861 through 1865. That's a long time ago, and none of us were around at that time. But these conflicts that we're talking about, they have impact on the world, they have impact on us, and they are prophetic. And we need to be aware of the fact that Jesus prophesied that we would have wars and rumors of war. I want to turn our attention today to the two most current wars that we are concerned with as a nation and as a continent, which means the United States and Canada are taking a greater interest in these two wars. The first one is the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. It began in February of 2022. It's in its 23rd month. The second one is the most recent attack by Hamas, the terrorist group out of Gaza, against Israel, October the 7th, 2023, and the resulting conflict and battles that have taken place as Israel looks to rid Gaza of the Hamas terrorists. Why are we concerned about this? These two wars have impacted us here in North America. What do I mean by that? Well, the Ukrainian war, the Russian war in the Ukraine. The Ukrainians have called on the world to help them, to support them, to supply them, send them men, send them weapons, send them arms, send them food, send them money, send them airplanes, send them rockets and missiles and every kind of warfare, send them drones, send them defense systems. Our two countries, especially the United States, has responded with billions and billions and billions of dollars. But now that we're into the 22nd, 23rd month of this war, the U.S. government, the various parties there, the two parties, they're getting to a point where they're tired of this never-ending war. And so the funds aren't flowing quite as freely as they did before. Here in Canada, it's a similar thing, although from our position here in Canada, we're slow to respond, and we're so slow to supply because we don't have the arms and the goods to supply. But the point I'm getting at is this. That war is impacting us. We're starting to feel the pinch of it. The Israeli-Hamas war, that's a different matter altogether. That has caused all kinds of conflict within our society today. We have so many people who are now supporting the Palestinian side of this battle. Really, the battle is Israel against Hamas. The Palestinian people aren't the target necessarily, but they are, of course, bearing the brunt of the attack. And all of a sudden, the world's attitude towards Israel has turned very, very negative. So it's impacting us. It's in the news. It's on the news. It's in our government houses. It's being debated. We have people who are very pro-Palestinian. We have people who are pro-Israel, but they're very quiet. And so we've got a conflict going on that's impacting us. And in fact, in the papers this week, there's been a lot of noise about this, even hitting the U.S. Ivy League schools. who have been under attack for their lack of support for the Jewish students and Jewish faculty and so on. But I want you to know these aren't the only conflicts that are occurring. There are other conflicts occurring. Jesus said there would be wars and rumors of war. Let me give you a few thoughts here for just a moment. These are very current, of course. Probably you're aware of them, but a lot of people anymore are so busy watching their phones and the social media posts and what are the Hollywood stars doing and how many people are in the last Taylor Swift show, et cetera, that we really aren't paying attention to the wars and rumors of war. Let me give you some illustrations here. The war in Hamas, or in Palestine, in Gaza. Let me get this right. The Israeli attack against Gaza to wipe out the Hamas terrorists is in the news on an hourly basis. It's in the news feeds on an hourly basis. So what's the result? People are tired of reading it and watching it, and they're turning the channel. They're going to another story. They're going to something that's more uplifting. Israel just decided to take out a Hamas leader in Lebanon. So they fired a drone missile at this apartment building in Lebanon to take out this Hamas leader. That's a different country. That's a northern country, north of Israel. Now they are attacking into the heart of Hezbollah, another massive, massive terrorist group. And not only did it take out a leader, it took out other people as well. They have been fighting back and forth across the Syrian border. Syria attacking into Israel, Israel responding, attacking back into Syria. So that's another border that's being attacked and conflict arising. We have seen the oil ships and the container ships that are normally leaving the Middle East down through the Red Sea and through the Straits at the end of the Red Sea going into the Indian Ocean. We're seeing rebel groups, terrorist groups from Yemen, known as Houthi. They have been attacking some of these ships. In fact, they sent 4 small attack boats against a recent, I believe it was a container ship. And they were about to board it when the Americans responded and sunk 3 of the boats. 1 got away, but now there's a lot of threatening going on in that area. Over in Iran, they were holding a memorial for a military leader, and the Islamic State attacked that ceremony. I believe they bombed it. Just almost nearly 100 people were killed in that attack. Hundreds, or I should say dozens, were injured. Tehran, the national capital in Iran, said, we'll retaliate for this. So we've got all these battles going on. And then the United States took out a leader in Baghdad the other day. And so the point we're getting at is we got enough stuff going on in Israel attacking Gaza to monopolize the papers and the internet and the news feeds on the TV and so on. But in just like a week's time, we've got 5 or 6 additional hot spots in the Middle East, let alone the massive attack by Russia against the Ukraine. And now they're heading into populated areas, apartment buildings, museums, libraries, and so on, with massive attacks. It's been reported they've been storing up missiles, many of those missiles provided by other countries that are in league with Russia, to launch an all-out offensive against the Ukraine. Ukraine is lacking in their defense systems at the present time. Hey, this thing's a mess. This is we've had wars all through the years. We acknowledge that. But Jesus said, leading up to the last days, you're going to see wars and rumors of wars. And folks, you can't read the paper, turn on the news, or read your internet news on your phones or laptops without seeing things that are war-oriented. Jesus was absolutely correct. See you tomorrow.